Leviticus 17. We left off in the previous chapter speaking of the Day of Atonement, and it's only natural that now we get into speaking of more of everyday life after them, because the Day of Atonement was meant to purge the sins of the people, the whole nation. So once again, it's a natural segue moving into that of everyday activities. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron, and unto his sons, and unto all the children of Israel, and say unto them, This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded, saying, What man soever there be of the house of Israel, that killeth an ox, or lamb, or goat in the camp, or that killeth it out of the camp, and bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation to offer an offering unto the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord, blood shall be imputed unto that man. He hath shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. So if a family within the camp, among these 2 million, 2.5 million Israelites, if they desired meat, then they would bring the bull up to the door of the tabernacle and have it slain there instead of going anywhere else. Now, what was the great importance in this? Well, the significance was keeping them from idolatry. Okay, there's always a very specific point with this. All the other pagan nations, it was flooded with idolatry all over the world. But this would have made certain that whenever they did desire to have meat, it would be brought unto the Lord as a sacrifice and not unto other gods. Barnes noted, every domesticated animal that was slain for food was a sort of peace offering. This law could only be kept as long as the children of Israel dwelt in their camp in the wilderness. The restriction of this, that everything had to be brought to the door of the tabernacle, the restriction was removed before they settled in the Holy Land, where their numbers and diffusion over the country would have rendered its strict observance impossible. Verse 5, To the end that the children of Israel may bring their sacrifices which they offer in the open field, even that they may bring them unto the Lord, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, unto the priest, and offer them for peace offerings unto the Lord. And the priest shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar of the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and burn the fat for a sweet savor unto the Lord. I really like this as well. It's as if the Lord is saying, share your food with me. And it kind of reminds me of what Christ said, I stand at the door and knock, and any man who opens up the door, I'll come in and I'll eat supper with him. You know, God's all about family, all about love, connection. It's wonderful, wonderful. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generation. Now, such verses as that actually goes to show us how, though to the human eye, in the physical realm, these things appear as wood, whatever, iron, stone, whatever these idols may be made out of, may just look like carvings, right? But in all actuality, these are demons behind these things that are pushing the people to go against God. And thou shalt say unto them, Whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers which sojourn among you, that offereth a burnt offering or sacrifice, and bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation to offer it unto the Lord, even that man shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, now pay attention to this, do not drink blood. I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. So God clearly commands, do not drink blood. Now there's a couple of different reasons for this, quite a few different reasons, matter of fact, but you'll notice how Satanists, vampirism, all of these things that they show in Hollywood, these monsters, how much that they just love drinking blood and eating blood. Well, it's all demonic. It's all satanic. It goes against God. Anything that God says not to do, they want to do. So obviously we can see whose side that they're on. But there was a man over 100 years ago or so whose name was Aleister Crowley. He completely gave himself over to Satan, Horus, these false gods, just completely. So we read about God's command to not drink blood. Now let's see what Satanists say. He wrote in his book of the law about these cakes of light. Now just listen to the ceremonies that these Satanists go through. We're reading about these sacrifices in Leviticus. Now let's read about the other side of the fence. For perfume, mixed meal, and honey, and thick leavings of red wine, then oil of abrimelin and olive oil, and afterwards soften and smooth down with rich, fresh blood. The best blood, he said, is of the moon, monthly. Then the fresh blood of a child, or dropping from the host of heaven, then of enemies, then of the priests or of the worshippers, last of some beast, no matter what. Anything that God said was unclean, that's what Aleister Crowley said do. And I'm not going to get into any details because it's rather gross. But there's also medical reasons to not drink blood. Hemochromatosis may be genetic or triggered by other underlying conditions. In this case, it can occur if your body absorbs too much iron from the blood you drink. Reaching this level of toxicity can increase your risk of developing other life-threatening disorders, including heart disease, liver disease, and diabetes. And there are also very obvious reasons to not drink blood. Drinking blood is dangerous simply because it can spread disease. There are a number of bloodborne diseases that would potentially be spread by drinking blood. Hepatitis B, C, and HIV are all diseases that could be contracted through ingesting infected blood. Jesus said at the Last Supper, "Here is bread. This represents my body. And here is wine. This is my blood." He never commanded to drink blood. All that Christ was meaning was just as that food becomes part of you, so will Christ become part of you as well. God agreed that there was spiritual significance in the blood of an animal or person. The difference was that among pagans, they said, the life is in the blood, which is true. Scripture even says that. The life is in the blood. I must eat or drink it and take that life for myself. The satanic way of thinking. And there are many alive today in whom still believe this, probably on the grandest scale that's ever been. The godly Israelite, though, said the life of the flesh is in the blood. True. And it therefore belongs to God and not to me. And the next verse, 11, clarifies this. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. Without the shedding of blood, my friends, there is no remission of sins. I do not see, and I've said this a million times, I do not see how a Jewish man can read these things today and not see the significance in the sacrifice of Christ. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof, and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh. For the life of all flesh is in the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth of it shall be cut off. And every soul that eateth that which died of itself, or that which was torn with beast, whether it be one of your own country, or of a stranger, he shall both wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. Then shall he be clean. If they did accidentally ingest any, then this would be the way. Now, a different measure would be taken if it wasn't accidental. But if he wash them not, nor bathe his flesh, then he shall bear his iniquity. One final note by Ellicott on this. If he neglects these acts of purification and enters the sanctuary in a defiled state, or partakes of the sacrificial meal, he is to incur the penalty of excision for the former act, and to be beaten with stripes for the latter. Now it would have been 39 lashes. That way they didn't go over the 40 in which God had commanded not to go over. That way you didn't beat them to death. So 39. According to the interpretation given to this law in the time of Christ.